If you're a movie collector, you need Movies Anywhere. It pulls your favorite purchase movies from participating digital retailers into one central place, so you can finally say goodbye to scattered movie collections and hello to an organized library. With Movies Anywhere, you can watch your favorite movies on any compatible device, whenever and wherever you want. Ready to grow and enjoy your digital collection? Visit moviesanywhere.com/welcome and register for free. Registration with Movies Anywhere required. Open to U.S. residents 13 and over.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.
Hey everyone, this is the Almost World Podcast. Bringing to you mind-blowing interviews with guests from all over the world. So settle down, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, by the way, if you like the podcast, please support Elmo's World Podcast on Patreon. Your support is what helps the podcast improve more and more. Welcome to Elmo's World Podcast. This is Elmo Ador Jr., your host, and it is awesome to have my friend Roy Hiller here. Roy, can you introduce yourself, brother?
Okay, I'm Roy Hiller. I'm a retired person in the United States in a city outside of Charleston. I grew up outside of New York. I went to a lot of good schools, had a career in information technology, and now that I'm retired, my primary interest is art. And I've taken a lot of art courses, and people say I'm pretty good. And I also belong to a Unitarian Church, and I am interested in religion in terms of people. You know, I feel religion is actually the people who practice it. It's not the buildings, it's not the gods, it's not the symbols, it's the actual people. And I tie a lot of my religious philosophy beliefs from being an artist, because you have a different perspective if you're an artist. And I'm going to let Mr. Elmo, is that the best way to call you?
Yeah, call me Elmo.
Elmo, any questions? Anything you want to know?
Yeah, I want to ask, so before we start, where are you from, man?
Yeah. Right now, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Cool.
And I grew up in Connecticut and New York. I grew up in Connecticut, which is outside of New York City, but an hour away. So most of my life, I was within 3 hours of New York City, but now I'm in South Carolina.
Yeah. So my question is that because you're from a Unitarian Church, so does that mean you don't believe in the Trinity, right?
Oh no, not even close.
No. Okay, cool. I got confused. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, the Trinity or the Unitarian Church?
Yeah, the church. What do you believe?
Okay, yeah, pretty much Unitarians, well, the elevator speech is you go from your own path and you try to figure out what's going on. Unitarians tend to be what's called secular humanists. They're basically atheists with children is another way of putting it, because most of them are atheists, and they're mostly intellectuals, college professors, lawyers, etc. Very smart people. And I love being with them because they're so smart. And they mainly believe in secular humanism, which is basically you have to help other people. We're all in this together. It's like this mask bait we have in the United States. Basically, on the mask, you're saying, I care for you. And the people who are religious don't and believe in the Trinity don't want to wear masks because they don't care about you. So that's where I'm coming from.
Cool. So it's a church, but full of people with different, diverse beliefs, philosophies. Yet you work together for the greater good.
That's an excellent summary. Let's say this week today, I'm going to have a Bible study with our minister. Just because, not that I believe in the Bible, but I'd like to hear other people's perspective. And then Thursday, we have another session on the Buddhist religion. And so it's like, okay, Unitarians kind of like to look to all different religions as much as you can, but we also understand that religion is quite complex. I mean, Buddhism comes in many flavors, many schools, much different in native India than it went from India, China, Korea, Japan. So Buddhism is very varied, and so is Christianity and Judaism, and I imagine the Muslim faith is too. And you're from the Philippines, so I would guess you're Catholic because that's what Filipinos are.
Yeah. Well, you could have been right, but that most of the Filipinos are Catholic. But I was born in a Protestant family, but you could have hit the nail right there. Like, I'm surrounded by most of the people living around me are Catholic.
Oh, Catholic or Presbyterian,
Yeah.
Actually, there's not that much different from my perspective.
And I want to ask, like, what does the Unitarian Church stand on? What are their proper basic beliefs? Because it seems that you have like different people with different belief systems. You're studying Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, and probably other stuff, humanism. But what does the Unitarian Church stand for?
We have a website and we have different principles. I guess we're all basically, in summary, we're all in this together. Okay?
Cool.
We're into human values, valuing other humans. I mean, you could say we take it from all traditions, and even though we don't believe Jesus is necessarily special, I mean, some of the parables, especially about the guy on the road and he's sick, the Good Samaritan. That is a good fable. You don't have to be Christian to understand that. And that's like a Unitarian belief that, yeah, sure, he belongs to the bad tribe. That doesn't mean, or no, in this case, the bad guy ends up helping out, and you figure out, maybe the other people aren't so bad. And that's kind of a Unitarian theme.
Okay. So,
okay.
It's really interesting because I guess that in terms of like the rational or the debate or the philosophical who's right, who's wrong, you guys don't dwell on that much, but you look on the towards the greater good, and we will forever debate about this if we're gonna keep like arguing who's right or wrong. But look at what all of us could agree upon, and that we want a greater world. We want the world to be a better place, and no Christian, no Muslim, no Jew or atheist would disagree with that.
Hopefully. Although I tend to, I can speak for myself and my friends. I mean, there are 8 billion people in the world now. I don't know, a lot of billions.
Yeah.
I can't speak for all of them, but hopefully the majority of the people feel that way. You do have some people who, unfortunately, don't. Oh, the other thing, if you want to find more about Unitarian religion, you can go to the website,
Okay.
uua.org, and they'll
But
give, yeah, they'll,
you guys are a religion? I thought it are more just a church or an organization, but
religion,
it
yeah.
okay. How is it a religion though? Like do you have like basic doctrines that you believe or
You know what,
dogma?
I'll let you go to uua.org, I guess that's our site, after this meeting, because um, that gives you the surface of what we believe in. And I don't remember all the principles, but basically, um, we tend, we're passionate about the environment, and that you could say that we're tree huggers, and we're passionate about human rights. Um, we're very liberal on all the liberal causes. I would say uniformly we're against capital punishment. We're the anti-law and order, and we're responsible for the internet.
Cool. How?
No, no, the guy who invented, um, I guess HTML, the idea of computers, actually the linking. He was a Unitarian. He's one of the founders of what became the internet. The fact that we can talk to each other involved a lot of people, but there were a few people who were behind it, and surprisingly, a lot of them were Unitarians. You know what I
Interesting.
mean? The fact that you and I can talk to each other, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it is. Dang.
And it all started out in our colleges. Actually, it was a military thing between all the Ivy League schools, in not the big schools, probably Columbia and University of Chicago, Carnegie Mellon, where they were experimenting with what became the internet. But I guess you know all that. I don't know. You know all the
Yeah, yeah.
history of the internet?
Yeah, sort of. But yeah, it was a military uh
Yeah.
project and stuff like that. Okay. But then, and I want to ask you, in terms of what the impact of being part of the Unitarian Church is in your life, can you describe it more? Like, and maybe
It's
you could give us a
yeah.
story.
Oh, I can give you a story, but basically it's a community. It's one of my. It's not my entire life. It's family comes first, and then my artist friends come second, and then Unitarian third. But it's a community of people who care for each other. And I can give you a story. We had a church member who was unfortunately, her husband had a brain tumor. It had to be operated on. He is essentially, in la la land, and she had to sell her house and move across the street because it would be too much for them to upkeep the house while he went into rehab. And the church, just like, everybody came over and helped her move and pack. And that's what I think is what a church should be about.
Amen.
And we
True.
do other things like food banks, you know, I should do more of that. But, oh, the other thing, when I was younger, I did the youth ministry. And one of the things we did, and it's not only the Unitarians, but what I thought was very moving, is all the teenagers, we went in a car and we went to New York City where the homeless lived. And we talked to them, as well as feeding them and giving them clothes and personal stuff. And to me, I think that's more important than that's more of a if there's such a thing as a religious experience, that's more than saying five Hail Marys. I mean, that's it. That's we
True.
Unitarians believe it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to ask you about stuff that about your art. you seem to hold it close to your heart, right? So, what about it?
Well, one of the things I like is the way it sort of like takes over. I mean, sometimes I can just sit down and like talk to you and sketch, and in 10 minutes come up with a fairly good sketch of what you look like. And but it's I look, people say they get a lot of peace from religion or going to. It's much more. I find you get a lot of peace from just looking at a flower and painting it, or looking at an image on the computer, and then trying to um, get the brushes to work to come up with an image. And some of it you don't do with, you're not thinking too much. You're just sort of like, okay, if I mix this yellow and this blue, I'm going to get the right green, but it's got to be the right yellow. Um, a light yellow is going to give you a different green than a dark yellow, and the colors are really fun to play with. I mean, you got 3 or 4 primary blues, and and a couple different yellows, and then you got the earth tones. Artists, I feel blessed that I can do it so easily. Whereas I'm frustrated because I can't play a piano or play the guitar, and that's also a blessing. People can do that. Now, do you particularly have a passion like that works for you?
Yeah, I do.
And you're not going to share it though. Okay.
Well, my passion would be in philosophy, bro. Like, because like I discovered it back in high school, and I just couldn't stop. But it's something that when I'm like thinking about the like metaphysics or epistemology, it really brings me to a place where I could do it like for the whole day and not think about food or not think about uh, sleep. It's just like it brings me to a part of my mind where I, I'm free to do or to act and be who I am. I don't know.
Hmm.
I can explain it.
Wait a minute. But that sounds more Buddhist than Christian.
Yeah, but
It does, doesn't it?
mhm.
Yeah,
But in
if you
terms of
say,
like how I view Buddhism or other religions, I agree that there is truth in all religions, but for me, like to what specific belief system like hits the person in me or the self. I still believe that in a self. um I it's just that the story or the person of Jesus Christ, my belief on who he is, it just connects with me, and it's something that is mystical and I couldn't explain rationally. If you ask me, like, I'm the most skeptic person you would ever meet. Like, I'm more skeptic than an atheist, or like any skeptic. But in terms of how mystical I can get, I could compare myself to someone who would be a Sufi, but I guess that I find the balance in it, but also tend to the part of me who is just a 20-year-old. I'm just Filipino, and I'm trying to explore the options I have in life. And
oh,
for me, yeah, this is the belief that works for me.
oh, okay, but at 20, that doesn't. I mean, you could continue to explore. Do you
True.
plan to call on like a Buddhist, a Muslim one time, and then find somebody who's a Buddhist and somebody who's
Yeah,
Orthodox
I am, but
Jewish?
exactly.
Get,
But I've already had a lot of people here. Like, I've even had like a Satanist. I've had
oh,
Muslims. I've had the weirdest people on here, but I love all of them and I
oh,
respect
good, good,
all their
good.
beliefs. You
Oh,
know,
okay. Oh, I forgot to mention that I grew up Jewish. So,
cool,
I
cool.
mean, So I can speak for both religions, but you know, the other thing we got to realize is that with all these religions, each one of them are many flavors. And you can't, like the Hindu religion, it's like a collection of religions. You know what
Yeah,
I
it
mean?
is. It is true.
And the Hindu religion sort of, you know, gave birth to the Buddhist religion, and there is a connection there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, but I guess are you going to, where do you plan to do your schooling?
Well, I got kicked out of military school after 2 years there, and right now I might study on in an online college, and just like for me right now I don't care about the future. I'm just gonna do what I love while I'm young, and that's what matters to me right now. So I have
Okay.
I have plenty of time to worry about my career when I'm like 30. But right now I'm young. I will do what I love, and I will risk everything on my passions. So
Good for you.
yeah.
I didn't have that benefit. We had something called the Vietnam War, which sort of prevented us from being free spirits.
Wow. Yeah. But you were in the war. You went to
No, no, no.
Vietnam.
But we couldn't take a year off or you know to pursue our dreams because we would get drafted. So we had to go to school.
Yeah. True. Okay. So it's interesting. Yeah, but
Vietnam was
I guess the COVID thing is actually more of a blessing for me, because I feel bad for those who suffer, like they feel the struggle of the pandemic. But for me right now, I for the last like 10 months I've just been chilling in my house and and, and studying, reading, but yeah, I feel for all the other people who are suffering at
you
this
might be a
time.
Unitarian the way you're talking. I mean, that's the way I feel. I feel like, hey, this has been. I'm 71 years old. I'm not. I'm tired of traveling. You know, or I would like to travel, but it's hard on when you get to my age. It's hard to move around. So I don't see my. I'm not going to fly to the Philippines now because that's like a 30, 40 hour trip.
Yeah, it is probably much longer.
Yeah, and that's a long trip, and I couldn't do it. But maybe you can come to the States when you're young.
Cool, cool. I will. I'm planning to, but yeah. And like for me, like if you ask me what the perfect life would be, it's not the typical like get a good job and retire and something like that. It would be like travel to like every country and just do like the minimal jobs, like be a janitor or a clerk or cashier, and while doing that, while traveling and surviving, just doing philosophy and just learning the truth, that's my
And also
that's my
write it
plan.
down. Write it down.
True.
I
Okay,
mean,
I will.
do you keep a journal?
I am.
Good. And you're keeping a video journal with this too. Okay, good.
And what's fun is like like for me, like talking to you, that's the highlight of my day, like talking to people from around the world. Like that's an experience that could never have been only like the 1% of the world in history could do, because without the internet they couldn't do anything. And
Yeah.
this sort of thing, it's a miracle right now. And people are with like generation like Z, with my people, kids my age, don't appreciate the opportunity they have with this age of information and technology.
Yes, something else. And you realize I grew up through it. I mean, as I was born, we basically just, it was the beginning of television. I mean, there was no internet. And so I've seen it.
I feel bad for your childhood.
No, we had a good time. We had a lot of fun with the phone. We used to.
But you guys are like your parents are the ones who went to World War II, right? But not you guys.
Correct. I was born after World War II, although I know a lot about World War II. And it's kind of interesting. I'm studying now about London when the beginning of the war, where I'm reading about Churchill's biography now. And it's kind of like people are complaining about what life is like now. And then when you read about what they had to go through in London during the bombing, we have nothing to complain about. I mean, they had a really bad time at the beginning of the war till we came in. Well, no, till the Nazis were so stupid to decide to go after Russia. I mean, what was he thinking? That was the end of the war. As soon as he decided to attack Russia, the World War II history real well.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
But it's how Hitler like betrayed Stalin, and like they had an agreement that he wouldn't attack them, but he did, and like they got stuck in Stalingrad. But it's so sad what happened in Stalingrad. Like a lot of like Russians, they suffered in hunger there, died of starvation, and but yeah, I guess that you can trying to invade Russia while you're also fighting off the Eastern Europe is pretty stupid.
Yeah, it was. I you would like go to one of our churches, in the Charleston UU. Maybe I'll send you. You can send me an email, and I'll email you the newsletter just once. And actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea. While you're home, zoom in different churches and temples and mosques to compare. Have you thought about doing that?
Yeah, I have, and like for me, I'm open to like testing out other religions or belief
Of course, you're
systems
20 years old. You have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
this
it's
is the
interesting because
time.
like amen, it is. And for me, like the truth is something that if it like you should be open to accepting it. And if you're like so afraid of looking at other beliefs or truths, then you're not allowed to doubt your own faith, then you gotta question it. That's the moment you gotta think
And
about
being
it.
31, I can give you a little bit of wisdom. Is like I mean, your family. I assume you come from a very happy family.
Yeah, we're 5 siblings, and I have complete grandparent, so
Yeah, and your mother and your father, and yeah,
yeah.
that is. I mean, that's the fact that you have a good relationship with your parents is a blessing. And I mean, I see people who have fights with siblings. Like, what's going on? That's your primary relationships and your friends. I hope you have a lot of friends too.
Yeah, I do.
Good. So life is good for you.
Yeah, but and I always put it in
Yeah.
perspective. Compare my life to like someone from the medieval times or the BC. I have it great, to be born in this generation.
Or even
And
people from a third world country. I mean, or
I am from a third world country, but if considering like Africa or others that countries like in Yemen who are in war.
yeah. Well, I thought you were from the Philippines.
Yeah, and the Philippines, it's a third world country.
Oh, okay. I know a lot of people from the Philippines come to the United States in the medical field too. A lot of nurses and
They are.
and one of my friends is Filipino, so I know a little bit about the culture. I love his cooking.
And I want to ask you like in terms of like you're 71, but I still believe that you got more plans for life, bro, because you got to keep planning, you got to keep looking forward to the future. And what are your plans, bro?
We had a Unitarian meeting with the men's club right before that, and that was one of the questions. You should have attended that one, our men's club, because something. It's hard at the moment. I kind of like go the other direction. You're familiar with John Lennon and his tune?
Hare Krishna, right?
Well, no, the Beatles.
Yeah, but he was Hare Krishna.
No, he wasn't. You might be thinking of Harrison, George Harrison.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
John Lennon. He came up with this. I don't know if it was his, but in one of his songs, life is what goes on when you're busy planning other things. And I think at this point I'm trying to more like live for the moment, because unfortunately at my age, my long-term plan, I don't want to think about them, because eventually I'm going to start getting older and losing my health. So I can't plan too far away, because I have some medical issues which could could end plans quite quickly. I have no control over. Other than that, I have I call my crew of oleologists. I have a lot of doctors and stuff, but that doesn't keep me down. I just kind of try to live for today, just to. That's part of being an artist, to be able to look at what's in front of you and appreciate it. So no long-term plans. Just.
But what kind of art do you do, man? Like, is it like painting?
Oh, all sorts.
Music?
No, painting, drawing, visual arts.
Cool.
And
also 3D?
No,
I'm
too old for that. Just paper and pen, pencil, acrylics and oils, sometimes pen and ink, and the basics. Mostly with pencil and acrylics, and then sometimes with oils.
Is it like abstract art or more
No.
landscaping?
Let me see. Do I have anything? Can you get to my webpage, to my Facebook?
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, within my Facebook, you can go to my pictures, and then you can look at there's a folder for sale, and that gives you an idea of some of the work I do. I do a lot of figure drawing, but that's kind of hidden, because people who are not artists don't understand figure drawing. You know what figure drawing is?
Yeah, you're painting with your fingers?
No. You have a young woman who's not, or man, or maybe a couple, or maybe 3 people, 6 people, but they're all naked. And then you have, half a dozen artists, or maybe 1, 2, half dozen, 17, whatever, drawing the same person from different angles for 2 to 4 hours, sometimes longer. But yeah, and I've done a lot of that, and it's kind of cool. I mean, everybody's friendly, and it's comrades, and the fact that the woman, usually it's a young woman that's nude, it's like, okay, this is what we're painting, and that's the way it's looked at. It's really, it is kind of interesting to see how people interpret the image differently. And it is.
So in a way, it's like in a room that you're like 16 or a lot of painters painting the same model, or with real people who are naked.
Yes,
okay.
Usually one, but
cool.
sometimes we've had we've had pregnant women, we've had women with their babies. That was nice when we had a mother and a baby. That was beautiful. So. And one of our primary artists is from the Philippines, but he does more computer art. Have you ever? Do you have any artistic ability?
Yeah, but I don't have any level to which I could be proud of. But I have a certain skill on like graphic art, but that's it.
Oh, have fun, enjoy it. Are you using like Procreate or Illustrator or any of those?
It's more of just Photoshop and making memes.
No, I mean,
but I do like for for me, like the sort of art that I would prefer to create would be more of a writing.
Okay, good.
I think
You're a writer. Okay,
that's mm,
excellent.
that's the thing.
Oh, you can go on join some writing groups on Meetup. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Cool. And
okay, go ahead. We have.
I want to ask you more about because you said that the Unitarian Church was the third thing close to you, and then the second was your art. And what about the first? Like yeah,
Oh,
family.
and that includes
Uh,
not only, my wife, my one sibling, um, and my children and my pets. And then I have extended family beyond that, but brother-in-laws and nieces and nephews. So that's extended family. But I would say the nuclear family first. And and I know people who don't speak to each other from nuclear families, and I feel very bad for them. But yeah, that's it. That's the nuclear.
okay. Okay. So well, let me ask you about because you know you're are you an atheist? I think you're an
Yeah,
atheist.
let me define what I call atheist. Okay, in the context, usually you're talking to somebody who's a Muslim, a Christian, or a religious from those religions, which are kind of like very similar. The Muslim religion, the Christian religion, and the Jewish religion have more in common than they know. But I don't believe in that God, the God of Allah, the God of Moses, or the God of Jesus. But that doesn't mean I don't think that there's a possibility that there's some sort of higher power that we can't understand, or maybe many powers. Maybe there was many godlike things, but we don't know. It is kind of, I mean, there are questions that we can never answer. How come we're so similar to dogs in terms of understanding the world, and how do we think? But when I say atheist, it means I don't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Muhammad and Jesus. Is that fair?
Okay. So you don't believe in the classical God.
The Western God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, maybe
But
the
in
Hindus got it right.
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know enough about them, but I do know a little bit from my art classes, because we had to study the art of India, which was related to the religions of India. A lot of art comes from religion, if you know that.
Okay. So in terms of like love, let's say, because you don't believe in like a divine God who has like created the universe or that kind of thing, right? What is love to you? Like what is the true essence of love?
Oh, a dog, obviously.
Really?
I
How?
mean, do you have pets?
Yeah, I do.
I
I
mean, your
do.
dog is like totally in love with you. Is totally will do anything for you.
Yeah.
That's it. I have to go pretty
But
soon. You want to wrap this up because we've been on about almost an hour. How much longer do you
okay.
want to spend?
Okay. Then how about one last
Sure,
question,
go
my
ahead.
friend? It's been awesome talking to you. Um, what has the being from the Unitarian Church and being an artist taught you on how you want the world to be
Oh,
better? You know,
gotcha,
like
gotcha. One of the
okay.
things that the Unitarian Church preaches is what's called deep listening. So, a lot of times when somebody says something, the other person is half listening and half just thinking of arguments of why Elmo was wrong. You're talking, and I'm just coming up with counter arguments instead of just listening to what you're saying, and not, I could find fault in what you're saying, but at first, let me try to figure out what you're saying before I tear it apart. And I think we need to be better listeners. Okay? You still there?
Mm-hmm.
What did you get out of this conversation before we leave?
Yeah, I record it and I upload it on Spotify and iTunes.
Oh, okay.
And
No, I mean, this conversation we had, did you gain something from it?
I learn from other people, and I have like, again a new perspective on life, and I weigh it, and if I like it, I will adopt it.
Okay, good.
So
So I'm gonna look at you. Wait a minute. Is this also? Oh, from your Facebook page, I should be able to link to wherever your YouTube is, right?
yeah, but I don't have YouTube yet, but I'm planning.
Oh, wait a
on
minute. What do you have now? Spotify.
Yeah.
Do you have links from your Facebook to these accounts from your?
Yeah, I do. But I would suggest this, like, if you have Spotify on your phone, just search Elmo's World, and that's
Oh,
it.
let me write that
You'll
down.
find it. Elmo's
I'd
World.
be curious. No, I think we had a great conversation.
Okay, so I'm gonna end this now, and I'm gonna edit it later. Yeah?
Okay, sound good.
So that's the end of it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is your host, Elmo Ador Jr. And thank you for listening in. And please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook. Please follow this. Please. Thanks.
The skills and credentials you need for the career you want are within reach at University of Maryland Global Campus. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online courses, personalized advising, lifetime career services, and more. Visit umgc.edu/podcast.
It takes a lot of ingredients to fix or build a car, like cooking, but without the frozen dinner easy way out. eBay Motors has 122 million parts. It's always the right fitment, so you can follow any recipe to a T. Whether it's a vintage Italian coupe that's classic like Grandma's meatballs or a German luxury car that's as complicated as Oma's rouladen, to cook up something great in the garage, use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.